through our chairmanship of the Road to Zero Coalition, we've been able to provide, thank you, we've been able to provide grants to local communities and through different organizations that have innovation and bringing it through the forefront. We've seen some of the local communities integrate some of these grant dollars in a way that has addressed some of their key pain points. But what they've done is brought the community together as part of solving the solution. And so it's really about doing the design element of it and bringing the community together so that we aren't just doing it in a vacuum and understanding why the particular changes are being made. And I think there's just more we need to do from an education perspective, quite frankly, across the country. Why do we do some of what we need to do, and why do we need to fund what we're looking to do, particularly when it comes to some of the new augmentation technologies in our vehicles to make it safe and to understand that it may have some limiting challenges for us as we traditionally operate our vehicle, but also when it comes to some of the infrastructure as well. Helping people understand, I think, is what's going to be critically important, and that's where we've seen some case examples with some of the grant dollars.
I remember an example of that in California, Mothers Against Drunk Driving, the effort they made some 30 years ago. I think you were in Stockton at the time, Chief, maybe as a young child. But nonetheless, it was very, very successful in developing the laws. Along that same line, it appears that nearly 30% of all fatalities are associated with impaired driving, mostly alcohol, but now as the discussion has gone here with marijuana and other drugs. Yet at the same time, over the last 25 years or so, arrests for impaired driving are down, significantly down, according to the FBI statistics. So do we have an enforcement issue here? And if so, what do we do about it? And I'll leave that open. I'll start with you, Chief, and then run down the line until I'm out of time.
I'll be happy to respond to that, and I did kind of address that in my comments. There's a number of reasons we think that that may be taking place. Frankly, if you're from the officer's lens, if you will, the complexities that we currently have in terms of arrest and prosecuting for driving under the influence have grown significantly over that period of time. When I was a young officer in the 70s, I was in California. We could get done in a 4-page piece of paper. Now that document's 27 pages long. There are homicide reports that are prepared that are shorter than some DUI cases, and we're talking about a misdemeanor. There are opportunities to streamline that and still provide and protect the rights of the individual if we could come up with a way, and this is, well, I think, positioned to do that. The other piece is the competing interests and demands on law enforcement. Right now, law enforcement is challenged in ways that it was not challenged 25 years ago. If you go out in a patrol car today, you will see officers responding to calls that they did not respond to 25 years ago. So they don't have that discretion. Because they don't have that ability and that time, if you will, the opportunity to engage in it.
If you'll excuse me for a second, because I'm going to be out of time in a moment, but then the issue is really a lack of enforcement. Many reasons for that, but is it really an enforcement issue that we need the police to be enforcing these laws?
I think it gets down to capacity more than anything else.
Okay, so that's, again, capacity. Mrs. Ahomade?
It's also a training issue. We, in a recent accident investigation that we looked at in Concan, Texas, we saw some issues with the training of law enforcement. Basic training for law enforcement is standardized field sobriety testing. But NHTSA has a couple of great programs called the Advanced Roadside and